whom 11.5 million documents leaked from Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca, in which New Zealand is mentioned some 60,000 times. Phil, you first. Is the government in trouble over the Panama Papers?
Yeah, because our most precious thing in New Zealand is our reputation. And when I went abroad as foreign minister, I could stand up and say that New Zealand was the least corrupt country in the world. We wouldn't have a bar of being a tax haven, but that's what effectively we've become. The Inland Revenue Department said it to the government in 2013. John Key's mate, his lawyer, came along to the minister, and the minister said, OK, we're not going to do it. That's cronyism. And that's condoning those people who use tax havens, who I regard as bludgers.
No one delivers the party line better than Phil. I'll give them
well,
that.
it's the truth.
Look,
it's easy.
The reality is, you go overseas, people want to know about the All Blacks, Flight of the Conchords, and Lord of the Rings. Nobody has ever said to me, you guys are a tax haven. And I don't think that's going to change because, frankly, there's a wide range of reasons why people have trust.
Tax havens,
and the only people concerned about this are the people who think there is something inherently sinister about global commerce.
They sell secrecy. It's the total opposite of an open and fair society. And that's what comes out in these papers.
That's not true at all. And I tell you what, I used to work for think tanks overseas, and I knew people who had a plan to get out of their country with 4 hours' notice because the work that they did was dangerous. And I guarantee you there'll be people whose details have been released in those papers who are in danger now because of the blatant irresponsibility of people like Nikki Hager over there.
Davidson.
Sorry, Madama Davidson. Sorry. Yeah. All right. What do you make of that?
No. New Zealand is a tax haven.
Is it a tax haven?
John Key is letting wealthy mega elites from foreign countries hide their wealth here so they can dodge paying tax. We've got New Zealanders here holding down more than one job, paying their tax. Why should he be letting our country hide money for these people to dodge paying their tax?
But what about? That's a good one, but what about people in your own party? There are people in your own party that have trust. The idea of hiding...
Domestic trust. We have domestic trust like any trust.
This is the problem.
This is mega wealthy elites. Mega wealthy elites using our country to pay to hide their tax.
Okay, Tim McAdoe, what do you make of it?
That was absolutely outrageous, that last comment from Marama. This country is not a tax haven, and to suggest the Prime Minister is condoning that sort of thing is absolutely false. The OECD applauds the work that New Zealand has done this, and in fact our compliance laws were put in place by the last Labor government, and they did a pretty good job of it. So well done, Phil, you were part of that government.
No.
We are absolutely...
Let's go to bullshit. These guys are here.
Hold on, you had your turn.
You had your turn. Dodge paying their tax.
You had your turn, Phil. The fact of the matter is that there has been absolutely no hard evidence produced at all, and more importantly, National has said we expect all New Zealanders to pay their tax. If they're trying to avoid the tax, we expect the ID to clamp down on them, and we will enforce the laws. And if John Shewan, with his review, comes up with anything else that needs to be done, the government has indicated we'll do it. But we are not a tax haven. And this is a beat-up. And even Chris Trotter and Tracy Watkins are saying, move on, nothing to see
We
here.
are not a tax haven. We have a very special guest with Hayley.
Yes, I do. Wow, it's heated over there, isn't it? But I have Nikki Hager with me. Now, there are 11.5 million documents in these leaked Panama Papers. Who's got time to read all of those?
No one's got time to read that many documents. But when you learn about these subjects, you find ways to mine your way into them. You find, the little veins of gold and different things. And so we're a long way from finding all the stories, but we're digging our way down through them.
So if these guys are using New Zealand as a tax haven, they're dodging tax in their own country, why should we care?
Do you know, one of the things I like most about the Panama Papers coming out here is that people do seem to care. And the reason they care is not because they have degrees in tax policy or something. It's because they don't like the idea that we are helping to impoverish other countries, that there are other countries where they need money for their water supplies and their schools and their hospitals and so on. And if people don't pay their tax, they don't get it. And I've been amazed how that message has got through.
Well, so it is quite wonderful. And I think in 2013, Warren Buffett said that he would pay the least tax in his whole office. Is that usual? Do CEOs and these billionaires pay less tax than the average person?
It seems like it. Certainly at a vastly lower rate compared to what they earn. And it's actually only in recent years that the whole subject of the concentration of wealth and the lack of tax and that 1% at the top has become a worldwide issue. but it's not going away. That's why people are riveted by the Panama Papers, because they were already feeling bad about it.
So what can we actually do to change this?
There's one way that things always get changed, and that is by people talking about it. If we all say, oh, well, that was last week, go to sleep again now, nothing will change. And if we say, we don't like this, well, actually, it's a tiny part of our economy. There aren't many people who do it. There's a few people getting rich in Auckland, very rich, from doing these dirty deeds, or facilitating these dirty deeds, should I say. And it would be very easy for New Zealand to be the first tax haven on earth to pull back from it and say, we don't want to be there anymore.
Thank you very much, Nikki. So we're going to keep talking about it.
All right, round
Or
of applause
not.
for Nikki Haga. And thanks for coming, Nikki. And stay with us too, Nikki, because there's another question that we want to ask you a little bit later on in the show. But David, pick up on what Nikki Haga said. What did you make of that?
Sorry, what of any of it? I mean, it's an absolute joke. It is fueled by a resentment of the fact that we now live in a global economy and some people do business across borders. Overwhelmingly, those people are law-abiding. Some of them are crooks, but that's true of any group of people. And I put it to you this way, if a group of lawyers had hacked into the database of a journalistic organisation, put all of their files and recordings on the internet and put members in dangerous countries in danger, that guy would be crying blue murder.
Okay.
But of course he's not,
Yeah.
because ultimately he's a
All
hypocrite.
right, Phil, that's quite a good point.
No, it isn't a good point. There's one reason why there's been a five-fold increase in trusts in New Zealand in the last 6 years, because people are coming, particularly from Latin America, to avoid paying taxes in their own country, to avoid paying taxes anywhere, and we are condoning those people who are bludgeoning off their own countries, where the people are much poorer than them and are being deprived of the help they need because the people with the money want to keep it in their own
What about
pocket.
that,
We have sent millions of dollars of
isn't
aid to those
Isn't it
countries.
pretty despicable that people can hide their fund, hide their tax, whereas people are through here, all these people, including me, who are paying their taxes to help with education, health, and that sort of thing, social support, we are bearing the brunt of society. The people with these trusts and these tax
But
havens
hold on,
are
hold on.
not.
No one is actually giving you any hard evidence. We've heard these outrageous allegations, a whole lot of innuendo, but there's actually no facts on the table. That's why we're conducting a review, because you're right. If anybody was doing that, then naturally everybody in this room, everybody around the country, would expect the IRD to clamp down on them, because we all should be paying our fair share of tax.
And
But let's not just deal with a whole lot of
tax
scuttlebutt. We
exemption
should
are
be
they
dealing
getting
with
from a
hard
zero-rated
facts. That's what we
jurisdiction?
need to look at.
Okay,
We're not getting it
Marama.
in this
Yeah,
debate.
Marama.
no, it's really clear.
comes
Mega
the
wealthy
tax-free zone.
elites like to hide their money here because we don't ask for a whole lot of information. So they can hide here, and that's the environment
That's
that
rubbish.
New Zealand and that John Key is
you've gotta be
allowing to
kidding.
happen. And
heard of tax
secondly,
treaty?
no.
Hang on.
So John Key is allowing that secrecy here. That's what attracts them, and that is very clear. That's what attracts people. Now, the other thing is, other leaders of countries are taking the opportunity to
Jonathan.
tighten up the screws once they have this information. Not our leader. He keeps defending
That's right,
tax
screw
havens.
the wealthy.
Okay,
That's
all
what
right.
it's all about.
Very good. Thank you, Marama. And look, what do you think about this issue? Put it on Twitter at Backbenchers TV, and just a show of hands, just around the pub here, full house. Who thinks that New Zealand qualifies as the definition of a tax haven? Hands up. All right, so that's what, about 60%? All right, okay. Thank you very much. All right.
You go and ask one of the people.
Thank you, Phil. Hey, look, stay with us. Pretty heated tonight. More to come.